can bring it to you, baby. About them Cowboys.
Hey,
Hey,
everybody,
Lamont.
welcome to the Tony Kennedy Show as we get ready to talk about his favorite team. I'm your host, David Combs, here on the TD Report. Tony Kennedy's over there today. How you doing, Tony?
Oh, I'm good now because I just wanted to know, can them Eagles still fly?
Well, wait a minute. We got to do some business real quick. Everyone, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Also, definitely add us on Spotify. We really appreciate it. We want everyone out there to know that we have gone up 700% on Spotify. So, whatever y'all are doing out there on Spotify, tell your friends, tell your family. We're
Spotify.
on twice a week,
You may
sometimes
have to
even
go to
more, depending on the
Spotify.
sport, but we can't do it without y'all. So thank
Nope.
y'all for listening and thank you for subscribing and supporting us. Tony came up with this idea 3 years ago, and he brought me in, gave me a lot of confidence to come and be a part of this, and we've just run with it.
Just
So
run.
this is just a couple of friends, couple of guys talking sports, and that's what we do here. Tony, we know you're a Cowboy fan. You played for the Cowboys. How does it feel to get that big victory on Sunday night? And let's talk about this first of all. What the NFL has done with this Sunday night football product is amazing. If you get on that Sunday night game, you somebody.
You somebody.
You are somebody. So they bring out the big guns. They bring in Gabrielle Thomas from the Olympic team, from the track team. They bring in Bryce Harper. They bring in John Legend. The stars were out in Dallas,
Yes,
and
they were.
I'll just come out and say it. Dak Prescott did not disappoint. Played a great game.
You talking about Dak, the MVP?
Dak won't get the MVP. Dak's not getting the MVP, but I got to give him credit. He played a great game against the Eagles are taking a lot of shots right now. And this is and by the way, everybody, this is the NFL. You be up here one day and then a couple of starts, you down here. You see what I'm saying? Last year, people were talking about Jalen Hurts being the MVP of the league, how he should have been the MVP of the league. A lot was expected of him this year. He hasn't been terrible, but he has not been great. I do think that Jalen Hurts is injured. I just see him how he gets up off of piles, and
yes, he is.
He does seem a little tentative in the pocket. I will say that. I'm not saying he can't throw from the pocket. I'm saying he looks a little tentative. And if he's injured and isn't 100%, you can see it in that Eagles offense. They were totally outclassed in the first half. Totally outclassed.
Hey, listen, Dave. Dallas had them beat the first time. Dak stepped out.
They did.
And then they called a touchdown. That was a touchdown on the goal line. That game was over. We had them beat. We actually played better the first time when we played them in Philly.
Are you kidding? No.
Our defense played better. Listen, they turned it over 3 times the first time. They turned it over 3 times this time. We turned it over this time and gave them a touchdown. We played better the first time we played them. But that's
defense. The Eagles defense outscored the offense yesterday 7-6. That was all their points. They got all their points. The offense scored in the first half. They scored 2 field goals. Went to the half down 24-6. And to be honest, let's be honest, Dallas probably should have been up 31-6 in the 31-6 in the first half and not 24-6.
Yeah,
Philadelphia was lucky.
Philadelphia was lucky they weren't down more than 31-10 because they should have had a touchdown. It should have been like 31-10 at halftime. But listen, all that, remember I told you, I don't brag on Dallas wins or anything else. What I tell y'all weeks ago, I said I judged Dallas off of Philly and I judged them off of San Fran. So now we done judged them off of Philly. If you really still looking at Dallas off of San Fran, they lost 42-10. If you guys, your eyes tell you the team that lost on October 8th or whenever it was against San Fran, if you think Dallas is that same team,
They're not.
We see it a little different. I don't think they're the same team.
San Francisco isn't the same team.
No.
Hey, Shane, thanks for joining us. Shane Hilliard, one of our longtime listeners. Shane, thanks for joining us. So, Tony, let me make sure I make this point so that everybody heard what I said. The 49ers are not the same team they were 6 weeks ago.
No.
They're not playing this. They're winning. They're winning games, but they are not playing the same. I will say the same thing about the Eagles. The Eagles are not the same team they were 5 weeks ago, and neither is Dallas. It shows the ebb and flow of how the season goes, all right? Like I said, you could play that first 5 games, look like, dag, you're going to be the MVP. Mm-hmm. And then them next 5 or 6 games, you looking kind of mid. You know, that's what the teenagers say now, right? Mid. They say, not really showing it. One of our, I think that was that Cody? Yeah, Cody says that Tua is the MVP. There, yeah. He says Tua.
If you won't give it to anybody, you would give it to the receiver, the cheetah. If you
the cheetah, Tyreek Hill.
You would give it to the cheetah because Tua's numbers don't even come close to Dak's numbers. Pull up Dak's numbers. Dak's
numbers are very good.
Dak's
numbers are very good.
30 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Cody, let's go back to our conversation when y'all said Dak threw all those interceptions. And I told you that he does not throw interceptions. In 7 seasons at the time, Dak had 66 interceptions. Now, in 8 seasons, he has 72 interceptions. He has to throw 8 interceptions for the rest of this year just to average 10 for his career. That is low in the NFL by NFL standards. That is extremely low.
It's low, but also they throw the ball more. Now, you should have, technically, you really should have a few more interceptions because the football is being thrown a lot more. Now, let's get back to the game real quick. The Eagles shot themselves on the foot. They put the ball on the ground 3 times, okay? And the Cowboys scooped up each one, but none was more damaging than the first one. Eagles were driving, and they were able to knock the ball away from Jalen Hurts on his way down. Mm-hmm. You, as a running quarterback, dual threat quarterback, you cannot let go of the football on the way down. You cannot do it. But Dallas.
Didn't Dak lose the ball and give them a touchdown?
He did. He got it stripped. Graham got in there and got in on him, stripped him. And Jalen Carter, by the way.
They got the biggest turnover. They turned it into immediate points.
They turned it into points. But the Eagles were driving when the Eagles were driving on that first fumble.
So I say that to say this. If that were Dallas last year, they would have folded. Because when you turn the ball over like that and you give another team points, that you're losing. What I am telling you guys, and I am a connoisseur of Dallas. You judge them off of Philly and San Fran, but you really got to judge them off of Dak Prescott. If you do not get to Dak Prescott and you allow that guy to have a clean pocket that he's been having for a month and a half, that guy will eat your lunch, and they will beat any team in the league because of the weapons that they have. That Ferguson kid is killing it. Cooks is killing it. You can't stop CD. Now we're starting to get our little inside running game going. You start to see a whole lot more of Tony Pollard. You just starting to see them roll as an offense. Now the defense is fine. You know,
defense is great. Yeah,
the defense is fine.
Defense
is
all
clicking. On Dallas on offense. If Prescott is hitting 60, 70% his throws like that, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, you're not beating them. You're not.
Let's talk about the defense, Tony. Micah Parsons puts himself in rarefied air. Mm-hmm. There are only 2 players in NFL history in their first 3 seasons to have 12 or more than 12 sacks. Not 12. You have to have more than 12. He got his 12th and a half sack last night. He joins Reggie White as the only players in their first 3 seasons to have 12 sacks. More than 12 sacks.
So let me get this straight.
In the history of the league.
In the history of this league, joins Reggie White. And this time last year, he joined LT as the first 2 defensive players to be first team All-Pro.
And first team All-Pro, yeah.
In the history of this league. But we got people talking about Micah Parsons. Man, dog, don't talk football to me. That's football. You want to talk football? Talk football. See, the hatred for the Cowboys don't allow you to have an open mind. Now, I understand that our fans say we're going to be in the Super Bowl every year, but what are you supposed to say? Aren't you supposed to say you're going to the Super Bowl? What are you playing this game for? Oh, well, we just playing to just go to the playoff. No, you're supposed to say, I'm going to the Super Bowl. That's small-minded thinking people. And look, I'll take the Dallas fans because at least they thinking and dreaming big. Other than these damn foreskin fans, and when they all they want to do is just hate because their organization is in shambles and they can't do nothing. I got people all day, all day this and that. Pittsburgh, y'all in trouble too because all the quarterbacks are hurting y'all division and y'all still can't win. Y'all ass in trouble. So if I would, let me put it to you. If I was Pittsburgh, I would trade Tomlin for a first-round draft pick over to Washington. Tomlin, come get Washington and come change the program.
I'll tell you what. I'll say it on the show. Ed Tomlin, if you're out there, I am not a Washington fan. Never been a Washington fan. Grew up here in the city. If Washington hires Mike Tomlin as the coach, I will pledge my allegiance to the Washington Commanders. I will become a Commanders fan. I will put a jersey on. I will sing Hail to the Redskins.
Hell no.
I will do it because Tomlin's my dude. No, Tomlin's my guy.
But ain't nothing gonna get me off them boys.
Come on, man. Tony, me and you gonna be Tony, me and you gonna be like this though, man. We ain't gonna be friends no more.
Cody said he gonna hold you to that now.
Let's see them get Tom. If they get Tomlin, I will become a Washington fan.
Hey, Cody, you know what I got in this cup? I got some Kool-Aid. That Kool-Aid you've been drinking for them damn Washington Redskins.
You stupid. Him or Billy?
Billy. He talking about the coach for. He talking about the coach for
Belichick. I don't want Belichick. It's got to be Tomlin. I don't want Belichick. Hey, no deal. Look, hold on. All of you degenerate gamblers out there, no bet on Belichick. No bet. That's no bet.
Belichick knows how to build. Hey, but on the
he was just in the net. He was. Yeah, he knows football, but the game is playing. The game is passing him by, and word around the street is on these mock drafts. I'm hearing that they're going to move up and take a quarterback. The Patriots.
Ooh. But
I've seen at least 3 mock drafts by professional draftniks that are saying that the number 1 pick is going to be the Bear. It's going to be the Patriots, and they're going to trade with the Bears. The Bears would trade down. They might have to look, man. You might have to give me Paul Revere's horse to move up to number 1. I'm sorry. If I'm Chicago,
or does New England trade that pick to Chicago for Fields?
No, they wouldn't do that. Not Fields. That would. But you know what? I would say this: the type of quarterback that Fields is, Justin Fields in Chicago, he's the next generation of quarterback. That's what he is. Okay. Cody says the Bears take Marvin Harrison Jr. Washington ends up number 2 and takes Caleb Williams.
They're not getting Caleb.
They're not getting Caleb.
Get the Daniels kid.
They're not getting
Caleb. Caleb ain't coming here.
Take the kid. Look, if I'm Washington, I don't want to be any higher than 4 if I can help it. Because if you're higher than 4, you're going to be tempted to take a quarterback. Do not take Jaden Daniels. Do not do that. Take that tackle. Take the big kid from Gonzaga High School. Take the big kid that's from Michigan.
Wait a minute. You putting everything in set. So Sam is your guy.
for now, because you know why? I don't have to pay him top 5 pick money. Go and fix the offensive line. Fix the offensive line. Cody says if Caleb is on the board, he's getting picked. If the Washington Commanders think about picking Caleb, he's just going to register for classes and stay in school. Them girls at USC are cute. He's just going to stay in school.
Hey man, I don't.
He'll do like Matt Leinart, take a bartending class.
Why do they want to get rid of Sam Howell right now, man?
I wouldn't. Sam Howell is going to be fine. They just have to be able to protect him. Get him an offensive line. Fix that part. And I would just say this. The problem with the Commanders, and I'm going back to the previous owner, Daniel Snyder, they always try to take the quick and easy path. They always try to get things done right then and there. Spend a bunch of money and then don't get the results. They were on the right track when they had Trent Williams here. They were on the right track when they had Brandon Sheriff here. They were on the right track when they had Morgan Moses here. And where are all 3 of those guys? Playing for play. They're going to the playoffs.
Thank
you. Playoffs. You know, Washington fans here, when Morgan Moses left to go to Baltimore, there were Washington fans who were like, yeah, we can do better than that.
Really?
Seriously. Oh, we can do better than Morgan Moses. If Morgan Moses walked in here right now and said, I want to sign here with Washington, he would get a big money deal. He would get a big money deal. And he would help. He's better than what they have. The only offensive lineman worth a damn in Washington is what? Sam Cosmi? That's it. The rest of that offensive line, get them out of here. Get them up out of here. So that's my take on what the Cowboys are doing, what the Eagles are doing. We've talked about it, framed it with Washington. I did want to bring up one thing real quick. Had a big game involving 2 premier quarterbacks in this league that ended in controversy. Talking about the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen matching up against Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. What is going on in Chiefs land? You've got Pat Mahomes, who's normally just an even-keeled guy. He's yelling at his players. He's yelling at officials. He's upset. They blow the game and lose. Pat Mahomes was so exasperated, he couldn't even shake hands properly with Josh Allen on the way off the field. Quarterback to quarterback. Usually the quarterbacks would be like, hey, dog, great game, man. Good luck the rest of the season. Couldn't even do that. All he could say was, that's the worst freaking call I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it's a call that when you point over to the line judge, he should be telling you, hey, you up too far, back up.
Yep.
They usually do that. If Tony would have pointed to him, but I don't think he pointed to him, and the flag came right up right away. So they didn't
on that side of the field. On that side of the field. Well, Tony, what I've noticed, Andy Reid said today, Tony lined up offsides, didn't check with the ref. That's not true, Cody. A report just came out today that Kadarius Toney did check with the ref. Now the onus is back on the officials for not saying anything. This goes back to the Terry McLaurin play against the Giants, where he caught the game-winning touchdown, and they either called him offsides or illegal motion, whatever you want to call it. Andy was on a pod like 6 hours ago. I get that. What I'm saying is that the league has a source that is saying that Kadarius Toney did check with the refs. It was on ESPN today. I just read it. So, listen, the controversy surrounding a Chiefs game and a Bills game is good for the NFL. You know why? Because we're watching. You know why?
Talking.
Because podcasts like me and BTK, we're talking about it. We're going off on it during the game. Holy crap. What was that? I think he was offsides. Just us going back and forth in production meetings talking about it proves the NFL is one of the best products on the planet as far as drawing people in, getting people interested, grabbing their attention, and not letting them go. It's almost like the Super Bowl. It's almost like the Super Bowl is a letdown because there's no more football.
Yeah.
We argue this stuff. Just sent ESPN link from Andy. Thanks, Cody. I will check that out. So what did you think about the game in general, Tony? It was a great game.
I thought it was another great game between those two great quarterbacks and great teams. Hey, that was a mid-December. It was a great game. I mean, we're getting some good games. Whether you're a Chiefs or a Bills fan, I have no dog in the fight. Look. We play Buffalo this week, and they got to win. It's a must-win.
That's a big game. That's a premier matchup. That's a premier matchup. NFL matchup.
If our defense plays the way they're supposed to play, we'll beat Buffalo. Now, that's one of the hardest places to go in and win is at Buffalo. And it's cold. It's December. You got a team coming from Texas. It's a hard road for Dallas. Dallas has by far the hardest road out there. You play your rival on the last game in Washington, at Washington. You play at Buffalo. You at Miami. And you play the Rising Lions, the Restore the Roar crew. Dallas has the hardest road to go. But you know what, man? Hey, you got to button up. If you're supposed to be like that, Dak, and you guys, it's time to put up, man. Hey, man, ain't nothing easy when you try to get a championship.
Well, you brought up the Lions, Tony. That's one of your teams that you've been interested in. You've been highly supportive of what's going on over there. What happened? Bears got him.
What's happening is the Lions are starting to read their press clippings, and them boys aren't bringing it like they should be bringing it. And I think the pressure's starting to get to them. They're not playing free and loose like they were playing beginning the middle of the season. It feels like they're a team that's just playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And that just changes everything with them. I mean, when you're a team like the Lions who haven't been anywhere since the 50s, man, you just need to let it go. You just need to let it go and let it flow and let the chips fall where they may. Don't worry about anything. I was afraid to play the Lions before because I thought the Lions actually I had picked the Lions as the winners of the NFC because I thought the Lions had the right thing that they could match up against Philly. They could match up against San Fran. They can match up and beat Dallas. I thought the Lions was that team. I think they still could be that team. Sometimes you have to go and find yourself. But I just don't know right now. I honestly, right now, if you're looking at the NFC, I thought Philly was the best team 3 weeks ago.
You thought they were the best team in the league.
In the league 3 weeks ago. I said Philly was the best team 3 weeks ago in the league because of the way they were winning. But what wasn't showing up is that Philly was just giving up. It's something missing from the Eagles. The Eagles team last year, honestly, was the best team I've ever seen them have, even the one that won the Super Bowl, because I thought that Philly team last year could beat you in so many ways last year. They were really, really sound. I mean, Dallas ended up beating them. We beat them without Hurts. But it was just the way they played last year that you just couldn't get on top of them. The Philly team this year, not afraid. Now, what you have to be, styles make fights, okay? So, in the NFC, of course, Dallas know San Fran is a team that can beat them, has been beating them. But San Fran got to worry about teams like Green Bay. I think that is the team that is the whole wild card in this is Green Bay, the way they playing. Jody loves Jordan Love, but the way they playing. And I arguing with Jody today, I went back and started looking at some of the stuff that Green Bay was doing. Green Bay's playing solid football. So that's one of the teams that I think could just come from a 7 seed and playing a 2 seed in Dallas or a 2 seed in San Fran or Philly. That's a tough game, man. That's going to be a tough game.
If you're Philadelphia and if you're Philly or Dallas, whichever one doesn't win the division, you're going in the playoffs. You both have over 10 wins. Would finish somewhere around 12-5, somewhere in there. So if you look at those two teams, one of them is going to get to play either the Saints or the Falcons in that first round as a 5 seed playing against the weakest division winner, which is probably going to be out of the NFC South. More than likely, take a coin and flip it. It's going to be Atlanta or it's going to be the Saints. It would be a roadie. It'd be a road game. But if you're Dallas and you're going to play, for example, if you're Dallas, you're going to go play in New Orleans. You're going to play in Atlanta. That's a home game.
That's a home
for
game.
you. It's minimal travel. You're not going across the country. You're not coming up the East Coast. You're literally in your region, playing teams that you can possibly beat. Go to that next round, get a game under your belt. That's kind of what you want to do. Now, if you're going to sit in that number 2 seed, okay, and play in that first round, divisional game, and have someone come to you, you'd be looking at who, Tony? You'd be looking at a Green Bay. You'd be looking at
you're looking at a Green Bay. You're looking at a Minnesota.
Yeah, that's fine. You're good with that.
An outside shot at a Rams, who Rams are really, really playing good ball.
They're surging. The Rams are surging. Just amazing what they're doing out there. They play Washington this week, right?
Who?
The Rams. Yeah.
I don't even know.
Washington has. Yeah, they play the Rams. The Rams about to fool around and come in and can beat Washington. So
they almost beat Baltimore. They had Baltimore beat.
Let's talk about that game. Sorry about that. TD Report. David Combs here with Tony Kennedy. We talk about our local teams here. We're based in the DC metro area. That Ravens game was a nail biter.
That Rams team is pretty damn good.
Slap Baltimore in the mouth.
Dallas beat them up, and everybody's saying they sorry. Now look at them. So what we talking about here? That Rams team is pretty damn good.
They're pretty good. I think Sean McVay is doing a great job over there. Okay, with what should have been a down season. People were saying, "Oh, they're only going to win 4 games, so on and so forth." Here they are, 4 weeks left in the season. They still in it, but something to play for. I'll tell you who else still has something to play for. Since we talked about Buffalo and we talked about the Chiefs, that AFC West suddenly got real tight.
Ooh, did it get real tight?
It's tighter than pantyhose 3 sizes small, Tony.
Can I ask you something?
Chiefs could fool around and let the butter slide off the biscuit.
Is Russ starting to cook now?
Russ is cooking.
I put out that stat 2 months ago when his numbers were better than Mahomes. Remember
they
that?
Are.
Remember
they
when
are.
everybody was shitting on him? I put that stat out about Russell. It's getting a little tight now, ain't it?
It's getting tight. Now, the AFC West.
So let's go back. You remember when everybody was on KC? What did I tell you? I told you they are not the best team in the AFC. I told you they're not going. And KC has never, under Mahomes, played a playoff game outside of Arrowhead. They will this year.
They're about to.
And what you're about to see.
They're about to fool around, end up and playing a game, and what would they be looking at, Tony? I haven't looked at the seeding lately.
Well, I haven't. Right now, they're 3rd seed. So they're about to play a dangerous 6th seed in somebody like Cincinnati. Somebody like.
But Cincinnati without Joe Burrow, who's out for the year.
Yeah, but Cincinnati without Joe Burrow. How about a Cleveland?
Now that's who they don't want to see.
No, they don't want to see. They don't want to see somebody with a good defense.
They don't want that.
No, sir.
They don't want that.
So
Tony. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Look,
if they draw the Browns, they're going out, Tony.
Well, listen. So we can get this clear. So it won't be no mistake. The best team to me in the NFL right now is the San Francisco 49ers.
Correct.
They can beat you in all kinds of ways. They can do, but being the best team 2 weeks before Christmas don't mean you're gonna be the best team near Valentine's Day. That has nothing to do. So being the best by Christmas doesn't mean you're gonna be the best by Valentine's Day. Okay, so that's another 2 months away. Super Bowl is actually 2 months from today. The Super Bowl is
Exactly.
February,
exactly. Yep.
Exactly 2 months from today is the Super Bowl. So all this jockeying and playing this and that, regular season is over about another month from today. And then we get into the real time. We get into the time where all you guys say the Cowboys just fold. Now, if you think this Dallas Cowboy team is the same as you've seen before, then you sadly mistaken, because you were talking trash about them playing against all these teams who losing records, this and that. You weren't seeing the way how they were playing. So they did Philly. They treated Philly the same way that they were treating all those little bad teams that they were playing. They treated them the same
Philly
way.
like they treated the Giants. Dallas basically did whatever they wanted to do against Philly on offense.
Did whatever they wanted to do.
They threw it wide. They threw it deep. They threw to the tight end. They threw to the wide outs. They did whatever they wanted. Now, Tony, you brought up a great point. The team that you saw 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, if you were a Kansas City Chiefs fan, this is not the same team that you're looking at right now. That's a recurring theme.
So do we call that the Swift effect?
I don't know what you want to call it. That's cold. Don't do that to that girl. That ain't right.
I had to throw that in.
That's cold. Leave Taylor alone. She that ain't right, man. You know.
Hey Taylor, if I'm talking about you, baby, come on the podcast. So you
come on the podcast, Taylor.
We can educate y'all.
But yeah, look, Taylor doesn't have nothing to do with it. Taylor's just like, I just make records. I do concerts. I don't play football. She's like, I'm just out there to watch my dude play.
Hey, we got to mention, Taylor Swift had a concert in San Francisco, and she went by to a food bank and had enough food to feed people for about 5 years. So you got to give that girl some credit. That was a jokey joke. The girl is doing good work in the community, and she's helping people out. And the NFL is profiting off of that because the ratings are through the roof.
The roof. If with all this controversy that's going to happen with a typical NFL game, especially the bigger games, imagine if you had an ending to the Chiefs, if you'd had an ending to that Cowboys game like you had to that Chiefs-Bills game. Can you imagine what the water cooler at work would have been like? People would have been arguing. They would have been mad. They would have been ready to fight. But let's be honest, if you're Roger Goodell, that's how you collect that $45 million check. He's making $45 million a year, Tony.
Hey, guess what?
It's good work if you can get it.
Because the NFL is nothing but a cash cow.
That's it.
Now, it's a cash cow for the owners. It's a cash cow for Roger Goodell. It ain't no cash cow for them players.
Nope.
Not like that damn deal that my man got for the damn Dodgers. 10 years, $700 million.
Let's talk about that.
That
Dodgers,
is the paper.
The Dodgers signed Shohei Ohtani to a staggering $700 million deal, 10 years. So the word is that just came out is that he is going to take $2 million a year for 10 years. And then defer the other $680 million. No, this is a fact. This is a fact. So his contract value is going to be $700 million, but he's going to take $20 million over 10 years, $2 million a year.
So the rest of that money is going to be deferred for him to get paid for the rest of his life. Ooh. So who gets? Oh, I'm not in finance. So that money draws money somewhere.
Okay, there's a couple of things at play here. Number one, Shohei Ohtani is a Japanese citizen, okay? He is a citizen of Japan. That type of income in Japan is taxed at 80%.
80?
Well, Tony, in the United States, let's say you're talking about someone like Joe Louis, the boxer, okay? Back when Joe Louis was boxing, income tax rate was like 60, 70%.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so it isn't out of the realm of it isn't out of the realm of possibility that a country could still tax at that rate. So if you're Shohei Ohtani, instead of making $70 million a year, you make $2 million. You pay what you're making back to the Japanese government. All right. But that gives you time to do what you need to do to shelter that $680 million lump sum you have coming.
Oh, until he finds a wife here in this country and get married and become a citizen.
Maybe get citizenship here. I mean, well, the thing is, at $680 million, Tony, the rate here is somewhere around 60. So you just save 20%. It's still pretty high. It's like 40, 50% tax bracket.
Amen.
For that kind of money. But there's ways to shelter it. So yes, he's going to, and he did it to help the Dodgers out so that they can continue to sign players. So let me say this to my Washington Nationals fans. And by the way, Washington Nationals fans are pretty salty today because Bryce Harper was on Sunday Night Football, repping Philly. They're still a little mad at him, and I get it. The Washington Nationals under the Lerner family were known for backloading contracts and doing a lot of deferred money. They owe Max Scherzer a lot of deferred money. They owe Steven Strasburg deferred money. The contract that they offered Bryce Harper was, I think, around $320 million, but most of that money was deferred. So a lot of critique from Washington fans and other fans around baseball were saying, oh, the Lerners are cheap. The Dodgers aren't cheap. And Shohei Ohtani gave them this money back. Basically, he says, I don't need $70 million a year.
Ooh, man.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Ain't nobody too cool for $700 million.
That hurt, dog.
$700 million? Nah, man, you got to give me some of that money now, babe. You got to give me a taste. You got to give me a taste. Give me a taste.
So he got to live off a measly $2 million a year.
And he's going to pitch, and he's going to, bat in the lineup. He's going to be a position player, and he's going to pitch. So he's doing two jobs. He's like, just give me $350 million each job. That's $700 million. I think we good.
I guess he earned that, man.
Listen, Tony, if you're talking about $700 million, you could have a face like a mackerel, and all the women be chasing you, buddy. Now that's live tour money. $700 million. That's like them dudes getting on the live tour. They make it $300, $400 million. To leave the PGA. I'd leave the PGA. Look, man, I'll tell you what. You give me $700 million. If I was dating Halle Berry, I'd leave her.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would for $700 million. Keep the girl. I'll buy another.
You ain't leaving no Halle Berry for no $700.
I would leave for $700 million. I would.
So folks, so you understand, Dave just said he has a $700 million contract. He's taking $2 million a year for 10 years. So
$20 million.
That's $20 million. That leaves him $680 deferred after the 10 years. So in 2033, 2033, he's going to be getting paid $680 million. So that's going to give him time to probably give him time to go move to Florida or Texas. So he can keep
something's going to happen.
Money.
Well, also think about this, Tony. What the Dodgers could do with that $680 million in 10 years is say, you know what? Instead of giving you $680 million now in 10 years, we will pay you $100 million for the next 10 each year. Kind of like the Bobby Bonilla deal. In other words, the fact that you didn't get the $680 million 10 years ago will make it worth your while by giving you 20% more, 30% more on the yearly that you should have gotten, but we'll give that to you every year. So you see what I'm saying? I don't think they're going to do that. Okay, so, I don't think they're going to do that.
I was explaining to my people on live. Hey, folks, you can go to YouTube or go to Spotify and catch us. He is deferring $680 million. He's getting
supposedly,
a year for 10 years. He's deferring $680 million. That to me is incredible. First, you got to live that long, and to take the chance that you're going to live that long. 10 years. How old is Ohtani?
He ain't that old, but I'll tell you this: it's guaranteed. It has to be paid.
Yeah, so it's guaranteed.
It's guaranteed.
As long as he don't croak, he's gonna get his money.
Usually on things like that, it's like an insurance policy. If you get an insurance policy today, you have to live for like 90 days. As long as you live for 90 days, if you've got $1 million policy on you, if you live for 90 days and on the 91st day you die, the insurance company is going to have to pay out. Same type of situation. I would imagine Shohei Ohtani could die next year after the season, and his mama and daddy or his girlfriend, his wife, his estate is going to get the rest of that money.
Get the rest of that money.
Yeah, they're going to get the rest of the money. So, yeah. Otherwise, Tony, if they didn't, you'd have a lot of dudes be getting killed. Oh, you just signed $100 million deal? They're gonna kill you the day after, so they don't have to pay. So that's not how it works. It's not like playing the numbers in Harlem back in the 1930s, where you hit the lottery and someone kicks you down a flight of stairs. It don't work like that. That's the old way of doing business.
That's the old way of doing it.
That's the old way of doing business. So Tony, we're gonna talk about not too much on the Monday night game, but let's talk a little bit about something that's near and dear to my heart. I want to talk about local sports here in Prince George's County, Maryland. I have just gotten word today that students, high school kids, will not be allowed to watch games played at their schools. It will only be parents in the stands.
When?
Now.
For basketball? In Prince George's County?
The only people that will be allowed at games will be parents. That's it.
What was the reasoning for that?
Fights.
So they're going to risk all that money, so PG County is not going to allow us to go watch games.
I couldn't go watch a game unless, I was maybe if I'm a relative or something, but I think it's only going to be parents allowed in the stands. I'm going to try to get somebody on the show to talk to us about that on Thursday. A Montgomery County and Prince George's County high school game official. We'll try to get them on here to talk about this. But this is something that I want to get the news report, and we want to I'll put it up on the website so that we can get some discussion going on this. This is our community, folks. This is the community that Tony and I live in. This is a community that Tony grew up in. I grew up over in DC, but I can only imagine what it would be like if somebody said to the WCAC in football, hey, the only people allowed in the stands for a WCAC football game from now on will be parents only. The high school kids can't go. Me or you couldn't go to watch somebody play. Can you imagine that? The uproar. So we need to talk about this, not just from a standpoint of, gosh, what a shame, but what is wrong with our community that our kids can't be at a high school basketball game. Tony, you know what? Now that I think about it, even though me and you didn't know each other in high school, I think I saw you play once. I think my cousins are a little older. They took me to see a Bladensburg game. It was a basketball game, and you would have been around the time you were there. We were in high school. But this is what high school kids do. You go to other schools and see them play. So imagine that. I couldn't go to a game. Oh, you can't go to that game, Dave. You don't go to Bladensburg, and your parents,
That's
your parents
terrible, man.
don't have a child at the school. So
PG County has the worst leadership.
I don't like this, Tony. And I know that kids get into fights. I know they do, because I used to see high school fights all the time in the WCAC. It happened. But what I'm saying is you can't. This is going to be worse. So now, instead of the kids doing something on Friday nights, what are they going to be? Where are they going to be at? Out in front of the 7-Eleven, walking up and down streets. This is what it is, Tony. The big, when I didn't play basketball and didn't play football, I ran track. So on Fridays, to see the guys around the school that had their leather jackets on, or the football players get to wear their jersey to school that day, JV, varsity, and freshmen, they all had their jerseys on. It was cool. That was what high school was about. And then after that, it's like, what you doing after school? I got to go to the pep rally, because, they make you go to the pep rally. You go and, you cheer on your team.
Mike from the streets says PG County needs an overhaul. You're right, Mike. They need an overhaul, because that right there was the worst Man,
we need to dig
so
into this. I don't want to bash anybody yet. I'm not going to do that. But this is what I was told. I want to get the news on this and find out what exactly happened
Mike
to trigger
works
this.
in the school. Mike, text us right now and tell me he works security. Is that true? Are you not allowed to go to PG County basketball games?
Students
aren't allowed to go. Please tell us what's happening. Mike right here, Whitley works in the school, so he'll be able to tell us right now.
If that, my source is very good. So
okay,
listen.
well, Dave said his source is good, and so you ain't gonna bash him. I'll bash him.
I'm not gonna do that yet. I'm gonna get you guys the documentation. We'll talk. You know what? That's a good way to talk.
Even any discussion, that's terrible.
Thursday show.
Hell, man, you go through the school year. So what are they gonna do with these Christmas tournaments? They're not gonna let people come?
Doesn't look like it.
Man, they don't know nothing about making money, man. They adapt.
Let's talk about it from the other angle.
County gonna die off.
So let's talk about it from the other angle. What about the public safety? What about the safety of the kids? If you're Prince George's County, you are responsible for every kid that goes into one of these gyms.
Oh, he said you can't go if you don't attend either school. So
they're keeping the outside kids out.
So no outside. So if I'm at Bladensburg and I want to see Wise versus Suitland, I can't go watch my boy who play on Suitland play against Wise.
Nope.
Man, that's crazy.
I don't like that. But I will say this. This is now a public safety issue. That's what they're saying is kids from outside the other two schools that are playing are coming to games and starting altercations. That's what they're saying.
Well, you know what, man? So back in the day, some of the best games we went to, Largo versus Suitland, Oxon Hill versus Friendly, Northwestern versus High Point. You mean tell me all those memories I have, we wouldn't have them because we weren't allowed? You wouldn't, man, get the hell out of here with that crap, man.
Listen, Tony.
Stupid.
What they're trying to do is they want to quote unquote identify every kid that goes to games. So this started back in the 80s when kids started to have to carry.
No, Dave. Here's how you can identify every student that goes to games. Prince George's County has IDs for their kids.
Yes, they do.
You have a system when you come to the game. If you're a student coming to the game, you swipe your ID. It goes into a system. Now we know who's at every game, whether it's a High Point kid coming to a Bladensburg game. Use technology for your advantage instead of just going and say, hey, man, let's just not have any of them. Use technology. You're a student in the county. You want to go to a game. You want to see a big game. Swipe your ID in, pay your money. Now it's in the system. Something goes down. We know who was at the game. Get more security, beef up security, do a better job at all that. It will be all right. But to do this right here is first, it's embarrassing.
Let's talk.
Embarrassing. It means
let's talk about the neighboring counties.
You can't control your kids. And if you can't control your kids.
This is the real problem here, Tony. So me going to a Catholic school, it's a smaller school than most of the public schools. It's not as big. So you had your student ID. If I wanted to go to see a DeMatha game, I didn't go to DeMatha. If St. John's and DeMatha were playing that day, I could still go. But they knew I was there. You see what I'm saying? So if I go to a game and I cut up, I cause a fight, I start a fight, or I throw something on the floor, okay? You can best believe when I come to school on Monday, somebody has said something to somebody, hey, your boy Dave Combs done thrown something on the floor up at this Gonzaga game, and you're not getting kicked out of school, but your parents gonna have to come down there. Your parents will have to come up into the school and be like, talk to the principal for what you were doing, flashing around the St. John's High School ID. They don't like that. You see what I'm saying? So yes, Tony, there's a way to control it. It's a safety issue. It's a public safety issue. I get it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Now, there were a couple of high-profile fights that happened at some Montgomery County games a couple of years ago, and then last year for football. You remember which one I'm talking about. I think one of them was at Northwest against Gaithersburg. There was a fight, and some coaches were basically, I think in Montgomery County, if your players fight in a football game as a coach, I think you either get suspended or they might relieve you of your duties.
Amen.
You can't have Tony. You can't have that.
You can't have it. But there's ways of doing things, man, and stop treating these people like animals. Use technology to your advantage, and
so you would go digital. You would go digital.
Go digital. You already went digital on the tickets. You have to be able to buy a ticket. You have to be able to be digital anyway to buy a ticket. So you can't give them cash no more. They have to be able to scan you from whatever. So you're already digital. And if you're a student, you have your student thing. If you're a student, then you have to be able to swipe in because they got a computer. You can swipe in, and now we see who's at whatever games.
You know, Tony, we've had a couple of, serious issues that you and I have talked about on the show. We talked about, unfortunately, we talked about the shooting at UVA. We talked about a couple of different things that definitely affect us, affect our communities. I think this is an important topic. Let's try to make something happen for Thursday. Let's get somebody on here that knows the topic and can speak to it better than I can.
I'm gonna get Mike Whitley on the show.
Let's get Mike on. Mike does Mike works security for Prince George's County Schools.
Yep.
Let's get him on and let's talk about this and roundtable it. I'll see if I can get somebody on my side that wants to talk about it as well.
Mike,
I'm not trying to argue or fight with nobody. I'm not trying to do that. I just want to understand what happened to cause this, to get to the point where the leadership in Prince George's County felt this is a decision that they had to make.
I'm embarrassed as a person.
I'm embarrassed too. I'm embarrassed.
From a school. That's embarrassing. So, wow.
And here's the thing. Here's the other thing, Tony. So if you're a non-High Point high school kid, you're talking about High Point, where your beautiful wife used to teach. High Point High School and Northwestern are playing. Okay, are you telling me that a kid from Suitland comes to the game and gets in a fight, that the kids between Northwestern and High Point would never fight? I mean, there's going to be. I mean, it's a high school basketball or high school football. There are going to be fights. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, there are. You and I both know that, right? How do we keep these kids from fighting? There was fights.
First of all, when you come in, they always have a different section for you to sit to support your team.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. If you're not with either team, then you sit with the rest of the people that are there or whatever. Metal detectors, more security.
There is metal detectors. I know that.
Metal detectors, more security, and checking people in. I mean, it is what it is. Public. You should be able, as a citizen and a student of the county, middle school student, whatever, to want to go see. Now, it made me think all the games Pat Murphy took me to, we wouldn't be able to go.
Right. But again, this is also about recreation. This is about giving kids an outlet. And like I said, things to do. What are you supposed to do on a Friday night? You want to go see a game. I mean, what does it cost to put for a ticket for a high school game now? $5?
$5-7 or somewhere around there.
School dance. I mean, as a community, Tony, we need to keep giving kids, and I'm talking about the teenagers here, something constructive to do. Let me tell you, 85, 86, 86, 87, 10th and 11th grade year, they used to have at Riverdale Movie Theater, they would have us come in and have all the Friday the 13th on. If you know Friday the 13th, they all an hour and a half. So y'all can do the math. It's 4 of them that comes out to about 6 hours. Okay? They would have us come in at about 12:45, 11:45 a.m.
At night. It's at night after the games.
They would have y'all watching movies till 6 in the morning.
We would go check in, but here's the thing: If you get up and leave,
you're out. You out.
So we would go in that joint, and they would lock us in there. Not physically locked, but
you couldn't leave. I get it.
You could leave, but you're gone. And we would be up in there all night watching the daggone movies. Now, after the first movie, second movie, most of y'all sleep, or whatever. But the good thing is they knew where everybody was. And at 6 o'clock, by 6:30, 40 yards away was an IHOP. We would go there and eat. After we finished eating at IHOP, we had to have our ass at practice. We would go to practice, and after that, by noon, you home. Man, you sleeping all day. Man, they did the right thing. They knew just how to do it. Why don't you start doing stuff like that? Lock the kids. If you know where they are, that's a good thing. Have stuff and start putting them in places where you can monitor them. I mean, they all want to do kind of the same stuff. Won't you start having more concerts? Won't you start having more things for them to do? Get them together. Now, what you going to do, you're going to have a crew here, crew here, crew here, crew. The one good thing about the games, if everybody's going to the game, at least you know where everybody is, right? You know where they're at. So, I mean, that's a good thing. I don't know, man.
I want to talk about this issue more, guys. We're going to talk about this on Thursday's show because it's near and dear to my heart. I want to see our kids in our communities have constructive things, fun things to do. Like Tony was saying, they call that a lock-in party, Tony, what you're talking about. They essentially lock you in and you're in there like that.
They locked us in for a movie, Friday the 13th. Now,
we used to go roller skating.
We had all seen them.
Yeah, we would go roller skating where you show up. It started at 10 p.m. and you had to stay until I think it was 2 a.m. So your mom and dad or whatever would drop you off at 10 p.m. and then pick you up at 2 or 3, or they would carpool. If I live like you and Fitz, rest in peace, Fitz. If Fitz lived next door to you, Fitz's mom would be like, hey, talk to your mom. Hey, can Tony ride with you back home? Yeah, sure, girl. I'll pick up Fitz. Okay. So your mom might drop you guys off, and then Fitz's mom might pick y'all up. Y'all going to the same place. Hey, man, see you in the morning, Fitz. Yeah, see you later. You see what I'm saying? I want to see more kids get to do more things. And one of my son's coaches always said, what did you think about that baseball trip we went on when your son was like 11? I said, he had a great time, man. They was hanging out. They was in the swimming pool. It was at the hotel, whatever. And he was like, that's the thing. We want to have good experiences for the kids. Things that they like to do, fun things.
I know how to get them.
Why can't we do this for high school kids, Tony?
You can't. That old movie theater at Bowie, it's not a movie theater no more. Why don't you make half of that place a DJ nightclub, the other half a game room, and then the other half where you can just watch, movies that they can throw on the screen. Put all those kids there, have a huge night, spotlights out there, security everywhere. Check them in, security all around, have those things all over so kids can have something to go do. Because look, whether you believe it or not, they either playing video games, they watching movies, or they want to party. Imagine if you put all that under one roof. Now we know where the kids are.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, you have to start doing. Start thinking outside the box. Like somebody said, the parents are afraid of the kids. Yeah, they're afraid of the kids because you just been letting them go. Give them something to do. I mean, that's so embarrassing, man.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little more on Thursday when we come back on the TD Report. Thanks again for bumping up our numbers. We really appreciate it, everybody. Thanks to everybody that texted in today with the engagement.
Catch us on Spotify. Yep. Hey, guys, go and hit on Spotify. Catch us on the thing. Let me also tell you guys, RX Sports is coming to you. If you're in pain, inbox me. We got the right CBD stuff for you. Hit me so we can take care of you. Make sure you're right now because I walk 5.3 a day. Get yourself a cardiologist. Stop playing. Man, the last 90 days, I have lost 3 people. from that. Please get yourself a cardiologist.
Mm-hmm.
I just had my thing done last week. I had my stress test done. I posted it for everybody to see it. Please, guys, especially you guys, find yourself a cardiologist now. Please.
Thanks for that, Tony. Appreciate everybody. We're going to see you guys on Thursday. TD Report here, David Combs and Tony Kennedy. Thanks a lot, everybody. Great show, TK.
All right.